Absolutely. And you bring up quite a few good points there, because I'm sure there are a lot of trainee pharmacists who go into a full-time job for the first time and they don't know how to necessarily communicate or be assertive about what they think their needs are, because they feel it's very busy, there's so much to do, I don't want to ask them for anything. Like, I don't want to ask for study time because they really need me to be dispensing, and look how busy they are all the time. It's not really fair that I take 2 hours out of my day to sit in the offices in the back and read the BNF or study for, or write evidence or whatever it is they need to do. It's very difficult to negotiate, but we have to. It's great that you've obviously reflected and you had the courage in those moments to say to your team or your manager that, hey, look, I really want to be helpful. I'm doing my absolute best, but I also feel like I need some support in return. These are the things that I need to learn, and I want to be really confident going into that exam, and I just need a little bit of time to study, or can you guys support me by quizzing me on a regular basis so I can take in more information and absorb the content whilst I'm doing my job. And I have this conversation with other trainee pharmacists who've come onto the podcast who have tried to advise other trainees that learn on the job. Don't just do the job and support your team, whether it's answering phones, whether it's dispensing, whether it's printing labels, putting stock away. Whilst you're doing that, think about the actual content that you're looking at. Like, what is that drug? What class does it come from? What doses should I know? Are there side effects I should be aware of that I need to know for this medication, so that you're just learning day to day? And if you're seeing people counselling, get involved over the counter, because so much of that information comes up on the exam. And if you're just exposed to it in a work environment on a day-to-day basis, you're more likely to remember that information rather than just trying to cram it in your brain after work when you're absolutely exhausted.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. And at the moment with my trainees, I try to implement not only what you should be doing to build up that knowledge, but also what to do to build up the skills behind the pharmacy operations. So, for example, accuracy checking. That's something that, historically we only did as RP on our first day qualified. That's something else that you can start getting into a routine with earlier than when you qualify. So why not get a trainee pharmacist to be accuracy checking? It's a great practice towards making sure that you're thorough, but also a lot of it is in your mind. If you have the confidence that you are a thorough and accurate checker and clinical checker, that goes a very long way in terms of, your stress levels not being so elevated, etc., and the anxiety that could come with being newly qualified. So with my trainees at the moment, absolutely, we get them accuracy training within sort of 6-7 months of them starting, depending obviously on their competencies and what they need to work on. But that means a good 4 or 5 months of accuracy in clinical or practicing clinical checking before they become qualified. And that means day one as RP, their anxiety levels are going to be nowhere near the same as mine were. And this is the part of my job that I love. It's like seeing it evolve every year and implementing new things that just reduce that stress. We all know it's a stressful workplace, so if we can do anything to take that pressure away, why not?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And in hospital we do that as well. We've got their logs, and they start them pretty much straight from the beginning. And if they are confident enough to start checking, they will get on with it. And some of them start it within the first 6 months. Others will wait a little bit longer until they've kind of feel more comfortable with it, because there is an anxiety involved with checking. You are the last person to see that prescription before it reaches the patient, and you feel very responsible for ensuring it's absolutely correct before it reaches that person. And building that confidence and that ability to know that what you've checked is correct, it's clinically correct, it's got the right expiry, it's the right drug name. There's a lot to remember in that process, and having that kind of checklist in your head and it becomes habitual is really valuable, and doing it on a day-to-day basis is obviously beneficial. So I guess when you started working as a pharmacist, how did you start transitioning your mindset to becoming a manager and working towards that goal that you had?